Hey guys, what's up? It's Fern. Welcome back to another Planty video. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is day one of what is hopefully going to be the journey of me figuring out how to grow a calathea, essentially. This is my beautiful calathea warscewiczii. This is one of my favorite plants in my whole collection. There are a few plants that have really stood out to me over the years and that I would keep in my collection no matter what, and that I am really willing to go above and beyond to figure out how to grow them and how to have them thriving in my household. And this is one of them. I love this plant so much. I'm not a calathea person. I only have 2 of them in my whole collection of 200 plants. So I really don't have, I've had more than that in the past. I've actually had my fair share of them, so it's very telling that I only have the 2 of them left in my collection. But this one just stands out to me because of course it has these beautiful dark velvety leaves. They are so incredibly soft. I have a thing for soft and fuzzy plants. The other calathea that I have in my collection is the rhubarba or the feather calathea, which is also very soft. Softer than this, but this I'm just so drawn in by the deep dark colors, the purple backs, like everything about it is just perfection to me, and these can actually get quite large and make just a stunning statement plant for your home. So that's always been, you know, what I've had in mind whenever I see other people's. I'm just like, wow, that is so pretty. So it's really been a goal of mine over the past, I don't know, since I've had this for a couple of years probably, and I've just been trying to figure out how I can get it to grow and how I can get it to be happy. And it hasn't been easy. It's been a bumpy road. I'm an underwaterer, so that's definitely not a good combination for this plant. For us to be having, you know, an underwater and a calathea, it is not a relationship that is built to last, but that's why today I'm going to be experimenting with putting this plant into pond and growing it in semi-hydro. And I have such a good feeling about this, you guys, because it already is looking so good just living in water, which I'll talk about that in a second. But these are some of the problems that I was facing with this plant. I was getting a lot of crispiness on the leaves. It's lost numerous leaves. You can see there's one that's just like completely crisped up down here, but mostly just leaves getting damaged. And even when I was keeping up with watering, they would still get damaged. So I don't really know. I will say that this plant was very root bound, and I didn't know that, so maybe that was contributing to it as well. But in general, I've just never been able to really get it growing and look beautiful. Like the leaves would always just come in kind of weird and sad, or they would come in beautifully and then eventually they would just crisp and start looking awful. Or they would droop and then just stay droopy. So a lot of these are like permanently bent like that. That's just because they were so dehydrated that they never bounce back, and they're never gonna bounce back. They're just gonna be like that. So also it was prone, yeah, you can see even some of the damage is like up here. Like she wasn't looking cute. She was really struggling. And she also was battling spider mites for quite some time, which I used beneficial mites on her, and that really helped. That was like, yeah, that was a really great solution for the spider mites. But that was going on for a while, which is also, you know, she's more prone to that when she's dehydrated, which everything is kind of interlinked. And I feel like it all kind of comes back to me not being able to keep a consistent watering schedule for this plant. The other thing that I can tell you about this plant specifically, after growing it for the past couple of years, is that she hates sunlight, direct sun. She will literally shrivel up and close her leaves. You will be able to see. These will react to light. So I have her in very indirect light. Like she really does not get a ton of light at all. This is, I would honestly say, a low light plant. If there is a low light plant in my collection, it is her. So that's actually kind of nice because I have a lot of plants that really need highlight, so they have to take up the real estate closest to the window and stuff, but she can be pulled back quite a ways and still be happy and growing. Anyways, this is a very long-winded intro to bring you up to speed to where I am today. So I decided a couple of months ago that I wanted to try growing her in pond and see how that goes in a self-watering pot. She was living in soil, so I figured it would be smart to transition her from soil to water before I do the transition into pond. So she has been living in water for about the past month, and all I did was just remove her from the soil, try to get as much of the soil off of the roots as possible, took her to the sink, sprayed the roots down, just trying to, again, just clear all of the soil that I could, and then I stuck her into this cup of water with some, I believe I put Superthrive in here, and she's been doing amazing, and she has tons of new root growth, which is excellent to see. So yeah, she has like a pretty good root system on her. It's quite large, it looks really healthy, so that's really great to see. There are just like little bits of, you know, perlite and soil still left in here, but I'm not worried about that. I don't think that that's going to be an issue, but overall the root system is looking great. Like I said, she's been living in water for about the past month, and that's just to ease the transition into living in semi-hydro. If she already has some water roots grown, then I feel like it's going to be just a lot more smooth and seamless. So that's why I did that, just in preparation for this very moment. This is the pot that I'm going to be using. I have several of my plants in these pots and I really like them. In fact, I think I need to order more because I think this is my last one that I have. But they work great for pond specifically. I haven't used these with leca or anything else, so I can't speak to that. But they have the meter, the little gauge thing. So I need to stick that in, and then your plant just sits on this kind of platform thing. So you put that in, and then let's just do it right now. Let's put the water gauge in. I think a lot of people might not like these pots because you can't take the plant out. There's no like net pot that sits in here. And I've said this before in some of my past videos when I've used these plants or these pots recently, but I haven't been able to actually show you guys like how this kind of comes together. So this is easy. You literally just, there's a hole that you just stick it in, I think, right? This just goes in here. Yeah. Oh, I think I have to put it through here. Yeah, okay. It's been a minute since I've actually put one of these together from scratch. Oh shoot. Can't lose any of the pieces. So you stick it through this little grate thing, put the cap on, and then stick that back into your pot, so it's gonna look like this. And now, I guess we're ready to go. Am I done my spiel? I think so. I'm gonna be using the Crystal Star Pond. This is now called their Mineral Magic Mix, but it's basically just, it's like pond. It's like a rocky, soilless medium. So yeah, I love this stuff. That's what I'm gonna be using. So I just have a layer of it on the bottom there, and then we're gonna transfer our plant in. Just trying to position her how I want her. And then I'm gonna fill it up with pond. Super, super easy. Okay, I think that that looks pretty good. She's all potted up in here. So now I just have to fill it up with water. So I'm gonna remove this leaf too. This one that's all shriveled, just gonna pull it off. The water gauge is just right here. So I'm gonna fill this up and I'm gonna add some Superthrive to the water. Not doing fertilizer or anything yet. She's not really a heavy feeder that I've noticed. She does have active growth happening, but for now I'm just gonna do Superthrive, and then I will add probably my general hydroponics fertilizer in the future, diluted for her. But yeah, oh my goodness, she's all potted up into her new semi-hydro life. I'm so excited. Superthrive, that's what I'm gonna be using. I have a little dropper in here. I do 6 drops per liter, and I just have it in this little bottle here. I have a little bit to use up that I mixed up earlier, so I'm just gonna pour that in and then mix up a new bottle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I'm just gonna fill this up, keeping an eye on the water gauge. There we go. It's at the top now. And this makes it really easy for me to know when the plant needs water. So I love these pots, or any pots that have a water gauge, honestly. This one is just the size that she needed too, so it's perfect. And I love the like black color too. All right, so she is now living in pond in a self-watering pot setup. I'm going to pop in a few weeks or whenever I see anything happening, and we'll see how she's doing. I really wanted to document this because I feel like if this goes well, it could be a great solution for a lot of people, because I know that so many of us struggle with calathea. So yeah, fingers are crossed that she starts to thrive for me. Anyways, today is December 19th, and I'll probably see you sometime in January. Hello everybody, I am here with a check-in. It is actually February 14th, if I am being exact. Happy Valentine's. So I'll put how long, I don't even remember when it was, but I'm pretty sure it was in December when we transferred this calathea over into pond. I will have all of the dates on the screen, of course, but yeah, I'm here to do a little update, and I meant to check in January, and then I just didn't really get around to it. But this so far has just been like honestly pretty smooth sailing. Like, this plant hasn't been doing anything crazy, it has just been doing well. So nothing crazy happened in January, so it's fine to just do the update in February. And this is how the plant is looking now. She is doing so well, you guys. I am just so happy with how the results are coming along for this plant. That's a new leaf coming out right there. Look at that. Yeah, oh my goodness. I'm already considering putting my other calathea, which is behind me here. I'm already considering also transferring that one into pond, just because of how successful this has gone for me so far. So what has happened the past couple of months? There wasn't really a huge transitional period, I don't think, going from soil into pond. I mean, I guess there was. Well, we didn't go exactly from soil to pond, which is, I think, the key thing here. We went from soil to water, grew some water roots, and then to pond. I think that this situation could have been different. There could have been more of a struggle period if I had just gone directly from soil into pond. So I'm definitely going to be, like, whenever I transfer plants, especially a more delicate plant like this, I'm definitely going to be taking that like middle step of having the plant live in water for a while. It didn't really struggle or anything. I think it maybe looked a little sad for like the first couple of days, and then it perked back up. And it had a bit of a delay before it started spitting out new leaves. But after, you know, a couple of weeks, it's just been putting out new growth like crazy. I think I've gotten 2 new leaves on the main plant, and this has never been a really fast growing plant for me. So whenever I get a new leaf, it kind of feels like a big deal. I mean, it's not incredibly slow, but it's just, yeah, there is a bit of a pause between new leaves, you know what I mean? Like, some plants, they put out a new leaf and then you can already see the next one coming in. That's never been the case for this plant for me. So the fact that I have had at least 2 new leaves on the main plant, look at this one, like, it is so big and beautiful. Look at that. I've never been able to achieve this kind of growth on this plant before. Oh my goodness. And I've also gotten, I think, 2 new leaves on the secondary one as well. I think this is the second one that I'm getting since the pond transition, and it's obviously still emerging. It's almost fully emerged. I've been filling this up with, I think I used Superthrive water a couple of times towards the beginning, and then I started filling up the reservoir with the general hydroponics 3-part series. So, but I would dilute that. I would do like half of the recommended dose because, I don't know, I was just worried about burning this plant. So I've just been fertilizing weekly, not exactly weekly, but whenever this needs to be topped up, which it honestly does probably need to be topped up about once a week, I would say. It's getting towards the empty line again right now. It's definitely not dry, but it is looking like it's gonna need to be topped up within the next couple of days. But yeah, this is just an update of what it looks like. I'll give the full 360 view here. Oh man, I'm just so in love with this plant. Now, what it does need today, and I figured I would just hop on here and we could do it together, is it just needs to be, the leaves need to be cleaned off. They're getting a little bit dusty. And this plant also is, since it's calathea, it can attract spider mites, which I don't see. I was just checking it over before I did this video, and I don't see any spider mites on it. And the thing about this plant is if you let it get too thirsty, the spider mites will just descend. But I think now that since it's in semi-hydro, I might not have as big of a problem because this plant isn't going to be in like drought mode, you know? So I thought that we could take this over to the sink, shower off the leaves, and then I'm just gonna give it a spray with my Sacred Elements leaf tonic just to prevent any pests from coming onto this plant. This is a plant that I just tend to try to take preventative measures with. I do try to spray it off every month or so. So yeah, let's go do that. I have a little bit that's already mixed up in here, so might have to mix up more. There's not much in there, but okay, I actually just had the perfect amount left of the Sacred Elements to spray this down. So that is just going to kind of dry off in the sink there for a while. And I'm going to be really careful not to put it in direct sun because it hates direct sun anyways. It does get a little bit of direct sun if it's a sunny day out just where it's sitting because the sun is low in the sky at this time of year. So it just really floods into the room. And it hates that for any prolonged amount of time. Like the leaves will curl up. They'll uncurl once it's out of the sun. But yeah, just my experience with this plant and with calathea in general. So especially while it's wet and drying off, I want to be sure that it's not getting any sun because then it will be at risk for, like, even higher risk for burning. So yeah, it's just gonna hang out there, and then once it's all dried off, I'm gonna put it back in its spot, which is right below the TV there on top of the cabinet. And then I will pop in and give an update. I'm probably gonna give the last update in March, and then I'll get this video up in March. Then this plant will have had a good few months to settle in and everything, so I will see y'all in March. Hello everybody, we have actually made it to April. Today is April 17th, and this is going to be the final update for my calathea to pond experiment. I actually don't know if she looks that much different from the update that was a couple of months ago, but here she is. Yeah, so her growth kind of slowed down a little bit. At first, I felt like she was growing really quickly, and then she kind of slowed down, and I was trying to investigate, like, is something wrong? Does she have spider mites? Does she have, I even checked for flat mites. I could not see anything going on with her. I mean, a couple of months ago, I think I mentioned in the last update, it looked like she maybe had spider mites, so I treated her for that. But since then, like, I really haven't been able to find a reason why she's been growing more slowly. She's doing fine. She's just, I thought that I would be getting a little bit more growth by now, but this is what she's looking like. I do have a new leaf right here. This actually just unfurled. Is it this one? No, this one right here. This just unfurled over the past week, probably. It looks really good. But the main plant, that's like from the offshoot. It's grown into like quite a substantial little plant, the offshoot part. But the main big plant hasn't really given me a new leaf in a while. So I keep checking on it, but there doesn't seem to be much action going on there. I'm also still having problems with imperfections on the leaves, like specifically around the edges, which I've always dealt with this plant, like crispy kind of edges like that, which is mostly from underwatering. But even on some of the newer leaves, I'm having these yellow kind of spots. I don't know if that's to do with like fertilizer or I have no idea, but I'm not getting pristine leaves, which, I mean, it's a plant. It's obviously not ever going to be perfect because it's just, you can't have like a 100%, well, maybe you can. I'm not expecting a 100% perfect plant, but I am still dealing with some of those issues. I'm just saying that to tell you that transferring this to pot hasn't resolved 100% of my issues. I'm still getting some leaf imperfections. It's not growing as fast as I wanted it to, but overall, I feel like this plant is doing better in this semi-hydro setup in pond than it was in soil. And it's also much lower maintenance, so I really appreciate that. My final thoughts on this are that I feel like I'm really happy with the results. I'm really happy that I transferred this into pond. I will probably transfer my other calathea into pond as well because I just feel like it's a better option for them. In fact, I plan to transfer several more of my plants just from, you know, just different types of plants, begonias and things like that into pond because I feel like it's a really great solution for me. So yeah, I hope that y'all enjoyed this journey. I hope that you learned something from it. If you're interested in transferring any of your plants or any of your calathea into pond, I feel like the most important thing that I can emphasize, which I already talked about in the first part of the video, is just to transfer your plant to water first and let it live in water for, you know, a month or so until you see some new root growth. I feel like that's really going to help to lower the stress on your plant and just make everything go a lot more smoothly. So that's it. That's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me do any other, like, document any like planty experiments or projects or anything like that, let me know because I love working on these videos that kind of span over a certain amount of time. All right, leave me a comment down below. I would love to chat with you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.